Okay. After listening to today's sermon, there was something that's been on my heart for a while, Risa. He was talking a lot about how you can be under spiritual warfare when you have a purpose in your life and you're trying to do that purpose. And there's a little bit of an elephant in the room. We've been doing this podcast since May, and we have no problem with the whole putting it on all streaming platforms. And we're also doing YouTube. The YouTube was a bit of a challenge, the visual component of it. And I don't know if it was more of a challenge for you, but it's definitely been a challenge for me. And that is because I have a visual impairment, I guess I would say. Is that the way you say it, Risa?
Mm-hmm. A visual.
I have a visual impairment. And some people might have noticed that on our broadcast. Like sometimes it look like my right eye is lazy, or it might look like it's cross-eyed at certain times when I look at certain things, like my copy I'm reading from and things of that sort. And so I need to address it. And I need to address it for a couple of reasons. One, I'm writing a memoir about my situation. And two, because it's been on my heart for a while to say this, that, having any kind of limitations, it can be difficult, but it also can be difficult if you feel like you're the first or the only, right? So I used to tell people I'm blind in one eye. It made me feel more comfortable to say it that way. Oh, I have no vision in this eye, which is true. I have no vision in this eye. But am I blind? No. I actually don't have an eye here. I have an artificial eye. This is not a real human eye in my forehead right now, in my head. So it was hard for me to articulate that, but yet it's still very visual. You can still see that there's some difference in my vision. You as my daughter have probably totally gotten used to and don't even probably focus on it, but it's been something, once we did the YouTube video, I became more aware of it again. It's almost like being a person that, what's the way I want to try to equate it to? It's almost like someone noticing that you walk with a limp and, one of your legs is like, maybe it's artificial, and you don't notice it as much because you wear pants. But now it's summertime and you want to wear shorts, and it's going to become visually something people actually see more. And you have to address it now in some kind of way. So I kind of feel like the YouTube platform made me now have to address it. And it's not a bad thing, because I actually have been thinking about this before we launched the podcast. I was thinking about this back at the beginning of the year. Back in January, I came across a story of, I think her name is Carly Faith Davis. She is the youngest daughter of Demario Davis, who's a linebacker for the New Orleans Saints. And she had retina cancer in one of her eyes. And so she had to have the eye removed. She's a beautiful, beautiful chocolate young lady. I think she's like 1 or 2 years old. I know, I think she's still young. But I remember when I lost my eye, there was no woman of color that was, prominent enough where I could look at and identify and say, oh, she looks like she's okay. I know I'm going to be okay. Instead, they said Sammy Davis Jr. lost his eye. And I'm like, yeah, that's great. But he's a guy. He's a guy with a cigar, and he could, snap his fingers and sing with the Rat Pat, and he was still wonderful, but there was no woman. Then they said Sandy Duncan, that's a lie. Sandy Duncan never lost her eye, okay? And she definitely didn't have an artificial eye. So I began to think maybe it's something that women don't talk about. And so maybe the job is to do the assimilation process. When you're young, the whole thing about making an eye for a young child, or for anyone that loses their eye, is to make it look as much as normal as possible so they can assimilate, right? So it gets put into you very young. Assimilation is good. Assimilation is good. Look like everybody else, right? So when you do that long enough, you realize, well, I really don't want to be focused on it. First, you have to go through all the surgeries and everything else. And you're like, I don't want to be focused on this. I am not just this that happened to me, which made me lose an eye. I am so much more than that. So you don't want to talk about it anymore. You don't want people in your family talking about it. You don't want your friends talking about it. You want them to see you as a person, not as the little girl that lost an eye, because you go from the little girl that lost an eye to a young woman and into an older woman. And you don't want that to be part of your identity. You want your identity to be whatever you made for yourself. So it became easier for me to say, oh, I have no vision in this eye. Because yes, one, it is an eye, it's just artificial. And two, I can't see out of it. So I didn't think I was lying. I felt more like I'm addressing it without having to go into the story. But now, lovely YouTube, where you have ring lights of in your face and a camera pointed right at you and you're talking, you're doing copy, it becomes more and more obvious for those that are sitting in front of us. And Satan whispered to me so quick, oh, don't say anything because you might lose subscribers. You're starting to build subscribers. Well, that may be true. I might lose subscribers by saying that one of my eyes isn't real. But I thought about Carly Faith, this young girl that's growing up, and she's going to be out there looking for information. And I know there's people out there right now with artificial eyes. You can Google on YouTube and they'll take their eyeball out and they will show you it and they'll put it on the ground. They'll play jokes with it and all kinds of stuff. That will never happen for me because first of all, I'm a lady. Second of all, I don't think it adds any value to the experience I'm having on this planet, because it's just like a person that could take off their prosthetic leg and put it back on. It did not add anything to your life seeing that happen. Unless you're a surgeon going into that field or you're an artist that's about to make those eyes, it doesn't help an average Joe to see that on camera. No knocking the people that are doing it. It's just the reason why, that's the reason why I will never do it. I will never do that. But I think it's very important, being a woman of color, to actually say, this is my reality. Do I want to be labeled as, you know, the podcast host with an artificial eye? Do I want to be labeled as the person that works? I don't even know how many colleagues of mine might be listening to this or watching this. No, I don't want to be labeled that way, but I also don't want the burden of feeling like every time I'm editing one of our videos and I'm trying to make a short, or I'm trying to make a short YouTube, or I'm trying to make a shorter video to put up as secondary information, that I have to be worried about how I look in this video. That's a lot of pressure. It's bad enough just trying to get on here, Risa, and not saying 1,000 times, but then you got to worry about, did I look cross-eyed in this segment? Or can I use this segment? What if we don't have viewers and we don't have subscribers because of the visual disability, you know, that I have going on? I don't even know if I call it disability, but it feels like that sometimes. How do you feel about me sharing this right now?
Honestly, I'm proud of you for sharing your story. You know, I love you regardless. And I hope by you sharing your story, you'll be able to make someone else feel better, and maybe like they will feel like they don't have to assimilate, and that, you know, that you are beautiful, like just the way you are.
Oh yeah, I know I'm beautiful. That's not a problem. I do. I know. I look good. I mean, for a chick with artificial eye, I look really darn good. I know I do. And there's a lot of people that are handsome and good looking, but they have, you know, you could be a handsome and good looking person that, you know, maybe you have alopecia and you lost your hair, or, you know, you gain weight, you know, rapidly and you have to lose it, or you have a thyroid problem because of that weight. All of us have something, right? I'm a person that has something. I'm bringing my story forward. One, because, you know, I've experienced discrimination because of it. I remember very clearly I had a boss and they had said, I'd overheard them saying, I don't want to elevate Angeline, her, because then we'd have to work too close together. And I really don't feel comfortable seeing her, you know, it made them looking at me, looking at how one of my eyes didn't track the way everybody else's eyes track, made them feel uncomfortable. And so that's why they weren't going to elevate me to, you know, a higher station or whatever. They felt comfortable where I was. Didn't want me to be higher up where we have more interactions with my boss. So I took that pretty hard at first, because you're working so hard to get promotions and to get elevated and to learn more and to grow. And I felt like if somebody in authority could put a cap over me, what can I do? You know? So I took it to God, and God was like, do not think your blessings come from just one human on this earth. Whatever you need, you come to me. I'm your father, I'll take care of it. And he did. You know, I have more things, more commas after my titles than most people, because I'm not only a wife and a mother and a daughter and an aunt, I'm also an author, a podcast host, a professor, an administrator. I'm a lot of things now, right? And I enjoy every single one. I can even edit videos. I can even put editor out there right now. And I enjoy it. But the discrimination does exist. And being a woman of color, Carly Faith, and you're gonna go up against some things. That's why I'm writing my book. I'm trying my best to get it done. And I never thought today I would say this, on this podcast, but I am. For not only for you, but for other little girls and boys and for their parents to realize, yes, there's people of color that have, visual impairments. We're out here. And we might not be putting our story out as publicly as some other people have. And it's not because of shame. It's only because since I was young, it was put in me to assimilate, be like the others, try to look as normal as possible. So a lot of times I would hide behind my glasses. I would hide behind a swoop bang over one side of my face. It took a while for me to pull my hair back. So a lot of times you've seen on our broadcasts, you'll see my hair pulled completely back. And that's out of the choice of saying, I'm trying to be comfortable in my skin. And I think I conquered a lot of the fear when my sister passed. Because my sister, when she was alive, always said, Aunt, you're so beautiful. You're such a beautiful little girl. She'd say when I was young, all the way till I was an adult, she always called me little girl. She's a beautiful little girl, she would say. Toffee colored skin and all that kind of stuff. She said, you need to take your glasses off more because you're a beautiful person. Don't hide behind your glasses. And when she passed, I physically took my glasses off and didn't wear them for like a year on purpose. And it jarred some people because I looked probably a little more cross-eyed than them, probably when I looked at certain things. But it was because out of honor for her, she was trying to say, learn to be comfortable in your skin because you're going to help other people. I don't think she ever thought I'd be on a podcast like this, Risa, doing it in this big form.
Right.
And to be writing a book about it one day, about the struggles. Do I want to be the poster child for it? Of being known as being a podcaster that's, visually impaired in some way? No, but if it's going to help someone, I'm willing to put myself out there just to show an example of you're going to be okay. Yes, you'll be able to drive a car. Yes, you'll be able to marry somebody. You'll be able to have beautiful children that you don't have to worry about their eyes, something being wrong with them. My daughter has beautiful brown eyes, both of them perfect vision, the other one too. It doesn't go on throughout the generations. It's not on my DNA strand. And I will talk more about how I came to lose an eye in my memoir, but I wanted to just encourage them because Satan will make you think you're less than. And I really liked how Pastor Quick really put that at home. Like, yes, every time you try to do something, you're going to get that resistance. And that's normal. It doesn't mean you shouldn't do it. Sometimes you need to go through with your purpose and live in it and let God be with you in it and let the rest fall away. Let the rest fall away. So now maybe that I put this out here now, I won't be so self-conscious when I edit and put stuff up. And maybe it'll also explain to people that might come across our channel as a new viewer or a new subscriber and say, oh, what's the deal? I'm trying to figure this out. They'll actually come to this episode and go, oh, now I understand. Okay, she has a visual impairment. I need to focus on her, focus on this eye. Got it. Maybe it'll be something like that. I don't know. But if anything, I just want to give encouragement to the young children that may lose their eyes. Adults, I think you guys are going to be okay. If you lose your eyes as an adult, it's something you have to adjust it to. You remember years of having both of your eyes and having good vision and having great pictures, school pictures and everything else. The ones that got lost their eyes young, like I did, I'm here for you. I'm here for you. You can make it through, especially if you're a beautiful little girl of color.
And I'm so proud of you.
I did it without a tear. I did it without a tear, which is really good because I thought for sure I was going to cry, but I didn't. And anyone has any questions, my email address is Angeline@withquickness.com. If you have a little girl or boy I need to pour into, do a certain meeting with virtually, let them know they're going to be okay. I'm here for it. If anybody wants to give me a brand deal for eye patches, I got some things to say about a good eye patch. I'm tired of the ones y'all got right now. I think they're terrible. But Anyway, I don't know if that's going to go up there, Risa, or not, but I did it. I feel pretty good about it. What do you feel?
Bravo, you did it.
Girl, I'm sweating so bad. Just trying to get that out.
But I'm so proud of you, because again, like, you are, again, my favorite quote from Oprah that I heard many moons ago was, "You are worthy because you were born. So therefore, even though you may have a visual impairment, you're not less than, you're worthy."
Oh, I know this. I mean, I got a lot of skills and talents, honey. Oh, girl, I got a lot of skills and talents. And God has, even when people are trying to hold me in a certain place and hold me down and think, God's already shown me I'm so much more than what anybody else could say I am. And if I can help even one child, if not Carly, Faith, and somebody else, then it was worth it.
But you know what I realized too, right? I feel like people that purposely try to put a cap or try to stop someone from doing what they were called to do, they only do that because they know how good you are. And that only just proves how like insecure they are, because they're like, oh, I see so and so can do this very well, and I feel insecure about my own skill set. And instead of elevating that person, they wanted to just like cut them off at the legs, and just like, that's not cool. That's not cool. All right, so thank you everyone for listening. I really appreciate that, and I'm so grateful to my oldest daughter for your love and support. And I know the youngest daughter would probably say the same thing too, that she's very proud and supportive too. Yes, but she's not on the podcast. Maybe we'll have her on as a guest one day. That would be really nice. That would be nice to have.
I would love to have her come on, our podcast. Since we're all virtual, we can just have her come on in. Right. That would be really a lot of fun.